Lizzie and her sister Emma did not like Abby. They'd never liked Abby. They wouldn't call her mom. They called her Mrs. Borden, or Abby. And they believed that she only married him for the money. And they were particularly disturbed that their father was constantly giving gifts of property questioned Lizzie, who stated that during this time period, she had been in the barn gathering supplies for her upcoming fishing trip, so she hadn't heard anything and she hadn't seen anything. A witness testified that she had seen Lizzie burning the dress that she had worn on the day of the murder a few days after the murder. Lizzie explained that she had gotten some paint on it and it was ruined. That's why she burned it, no other reason. So she's saying she got paint on her dress and she had to burn it. She couldn't just throw it out. She had to burn it. That does not sound like something that an innocent person would do. Police felt she had destroyed it because it had bloodstains from the murders, and they arrested her for a double homicide.